you've lost count of how many times you have went off track at the weekend. And for every Monday, Friday where you consistently feel locked in with training, nutrition and routine, there's a Saturday, Sunday that follows where it feels like the ground beneath you begins to fall, and all of that consistency, it just goes out the window. And you're left sat there on Monday morning, looking at yourself, looking at the scale, thinking, why the fuck have I done this again? And I was king of that cycle for quite a few years, constantly feeling like every week was one step forward Monday, Friday, followed by one step back at the weekend. But over time, I made these 9 changes, which not only helped me stop losing progress at the weekend, but helped me drop over 40 kilograms, completely transform my body, and to this day are still the tactics that I use to stay in shape. And so today I'm going to be breaking down exactly what they were. So let's get right into it. Number 1 is how you psychologically view the weekend. We're going to be starting off with the days leading up to the actual Saturday, Sunday period. Because for years, I would always look at Monday, Friday as if things like, I need to be in the gym at this time, I need to be prepping this food, I need to be organised, I need to be here at this time, here at that time. It was all very structured. But then at the weekend, generally speaking, I had a bit more free time. Potentially I wasn't working. So what was happening was that I was going, oh well, I'll just relax over the weekend. I don't need to have the same structure because I don't have to be on routine as much. It'll take care of itself. And that was the beginning of the downfall. Now, you don't need to be exactly the same Saturday, Sunday as you are Monday, Friday. You need to have some sense of structure of looking at the weekend as just another 2 days, because people look at it as if it's Monday, Friday, that's Saturday, Sunday. No, it needs to just be Monday through Sunday. That does not mean perfection Monday through Sunday. That just means there shouldn't really be much of a difference between how you approach a Sunday morning compared to how you approach a Tuesday morning. The only difference being potentially you might have to be in work on the Tuesday morning, but you should still want to have that structure and it will help you. And then number 2 is the fact that I was going from full cupboards on a Sunday to empty cupboards on a Thursday. Now, I know that for a lot of people, myself included, Sunday is food shop day. You get your food shopping, you stock up the fridges, the freezers, the cupboards, you get your meals prepped, you feel in control, you feel great, so that you know that when you wake up on Monday, you are ready to go. But then it would always, for me, come to Thursday, and that meal and food that I bought on Sunday had generally ran out, or there wasn't really much left in there. So where I'd been looking at a full fridge and full cupboard and full freezer on that Monday morning, which then psychologically made me think, right, meals are prepped, I am on it, they were half empty on the Thursday, or sometimes even fully empty. So what that was doing in my head was, right, well, I've not got my stuff prepped, so I'll just have to make it up a bit more as I go along. I'll just maybe have a bit more of an easier dinner tonight. None of it was the same as it was on the Sunday. What I'd done to change this was actually just started doing a smaller mini food shop on a Thursday. Now, I'm not trying to say that you need to meal prep your meals for the Friday, Saturday and Sunday like you done on the Sunday previous. What will help is if you have some form of similar structure. So if on that Sunday you meal prepped yourself overnight oats for breakfast, chili con carne for lunch, and then you bought protein in to have with your dinner, to have with a different carb every night, maybe on that Thursday you go and get the stuff to make your overnight oats. Maybe you get the stuff to make the same lunch. Again, it's not about being the exact same as you were Monday, Friday, but it is about continuing some of that structure. Because on that Monday morning, if you hadn't done your food shop on the Sunday, you would not have started off the week so well. So why would you not want to put yourself in the same position of strength going into the weekend where you're going to have more, do you want to come out tonight? Do you want to go for a drink tonight? There's going to be more reasons for you to not stay on track. Why would you want to make that even easier for yourself by getting in no more food for the weekend? Number 3, and now we're coming into one of the big ones, and this is there was no planning for what you were going to do at the weekend. You may have a social plan on the Saturday. You may have something which will involve you doing, eating, drinking something which will be off plan, off track. You don't need to say no to the social occasion. You can go out and enjoy the social occasion, but there needs to be some planning in advance. Let's take the fact that you may be going out for a dinner on Saturday night. For a lot of people, and what I used to do is I used to just go, oh, right, well, I'm going out for dinner, so, well, I'm not really going to be able to do much, so I'll get back to it on the Sunday. Whereas what I would then do is, because I was then not planning it, I would just be seeing the Saturday as a bit of a write-off, a bit of a day off. And then what I would end up doing is I would end up just really not doing anything as normal on the Saturday, because there wasn't a plan of action. With your weekend social plans, if you know you've got something, anything, you want to actually plan it in. So you're going, right, I've got that brunch on Saturday, and then I might actually be wanting to spend the evening with my partner. So I'm going to need to get up on the Saturday morning and hit the gym. If I know I'm going out for that meal on the Saturday night, then potentially I can skip lunch, have a later breakfast, which is higher protein, which is going to keep me fuller, and then it's going to mean that I've got that bit more relaxation with what I can choose on the menu on the Saturday night. Not once am I telling you to not go for the social occasion or not go out for the social event or just say no to everything, but I'm asking you to begin to plan your weekend in advance. So on a side note, when it comes to nutrition, we're obviously covering the weekends, but across a week, across the board, your progress with nutrition will be determined by your level of consistency. And consistency and eating similar foods every single day generally go hand in hand. However, one of the biggest issues is that people believe that eating the same foods every single day will mean that you begin to resent those foods. And that's because people think that it's still just about clean, healthy eating. But it's not actually just about that. It's about having a system and a structure in place. And over the last 12 weeks, I've dropped 12 kilograms in preparation for my third photo shoot. And it's been the best and most consistent my nutrition has ever been. And I've decided to put every single thing I've done with my nutrition over the last 12 weeks into a free document for you to use. Completely free, like I said, no strings attached. It goes through exactly what my day-to-day tactics are, which keep my nutrition very, very simple, easy, consistent, but enjoyable. And then I've even put in the main 5 to 6 meals that I've had over the last 12 weeks, which number 1, I've never gotten bored of. Number 2, how simple they are to make. And number 3, how you can make them towards your own dieting, nutrition, fat loss goals. If you would like to download the full free guide, there is a link down in the description below or on my bio. If you put in your details, it will be within your emails in 10 seconds flat. Otherwise though, let's go back to the video. Number 4 is the fact that every week looks like Monday to Friday, all structure, Saturday to Sunday, zero structure. As I've already mentioned, you do not need to treat the weekend exactly as you do Monday, Friday. Of course not, you're not a bodybuilder. The biggest mistake is the fact that I, for years, and you right now, are looking at the weekend as a time to switch off and a time to relax. What you need to start doing is having your daily constants. There needs to be things that you do 7 days per week, no matter what. And that was one of the best things that I ever changed about my weekends, was I started finding 1 to 2 constants that just stayed with me throughout 7 days a week. Because when it came to the weekend previous to that, I would always just go, right, well, I've been really consistent and enjoying my morning routine with breakfast and the gym, and then I've been enjoying my lunchtime routine and my evening routine of going for a walk after dinner. But it's the weekend, so I don't really need to do it because it's time to relax, and I'll get back to that on Monday. But then it was that structure at Monday, Friday, which was helping me stay consistent and see the results. And then I'd be wondering on the Monday why every week I was feeling like I'm in the same spot as I was last week. And it's because I'd fucked off all structure at the weekend. Start finding your constant. If it's a meal, if it's a walk, if it's a certain gym session, something that you can do Saturday, Sunday, that you do Monday, Friday, where you're feeling consistent and making results, and it will psychologically give you that bit more of a sense of structure, routine, and confidence that you can actually still make progress at the weekend. Number 5, and this potentially is the biggest one that ever hampered me for years, the Friday fuck it button. Picture this, Monday, Friday, you have been on it. You've been at the gym, you've been hitting your steps, you've been doing your nutrition, you've been meal prepping, you've been doing everything that you know that you need to see a result. Scale weight coming down, improvements in your strength, improvements in your performance, in your fitness, in your running, whatever it may be, you have been killing it and you're feeling great. But then Friday comes along, and Friday night comes along, and something comes up which hasn't came up over the last 4 nights, a potential social plan, which involves having something untracked or off plan. So then what happens is you do that, you have the meal out, whatever it may be, you wake up on the Saturday morning and the scale weight has went up. What you have then done, and what I done for so many years, is I would look down at that scale on the Saturday morning and I would go, right, fuck it, what is the point? Because I didn't have any of the sense of structure for the rest of the weekend that I've already spoken about. I was basically thinking, right, well, I'm not going to be as on it over the weekend as I am Monday, Friday anyway, so I'm not going to be able to make that same level of progress, so fuck it, what's the point? I'll just get back to it on Monday. And that leads perfectly and directly into my next point, which is the fact that you then let that 3-hour period turn into a 72-hour period. It's Monday, Thursday, and you've been consuming 1800 calories per day. You've been hitting the gym, getting your steps in, progress has been made, results are coming in, you're feeling good. But then Friday comes, you have a meal out, and then that's followed by some drinks. So what was 1800 calories per day Monday, Thursday has now turned into about 3,000 to 4,000 calories on the Friday once you take into account the dinner and the drinks out. So then on the Saturday morning, you weigh in and you look at the scales and they've spiked up because you've got more alcohol and more carbohydrates from your meal out on the Friday. And even after that meal out and drinks out on the Friday, there was already a tiny thought of, oh, well, I've already went off track, so I might just chill for the weekend. And then that is further stated by when you step on the scale on the Saturday morning and the number is shot up. So then you just go into that mode of, right, I'm just going to relax for the rest of the weekend. I'm going to lock back in on Monday and make up the progress that I've lost last night. But you hadn't lost any progress, and I just didn't see that for years, because I seen it as, if my scale weight doesn't go down, then, well, I'm failing. So then that 3 hours out on the Friday for dinner and drinks turns into a Saturday and Sunday of me not really tracking, me not really doing my things, of me basically doing the complete fucking opposite as I was Monday, Thursday, which had gotten me the results. So the biggest thing that I started to change was that I woke up on the Saturday morning, and if I had done something on the Friday which potentially spiked my scale weight up, I'd be like, okay, that is all right. I can still maintain this and still make progress over the weekend, even if the scale weight has came back up, because I know that by this point next week, if I'm consistent, my scale weight will once again be down on average. And that's the big thing here. Scale weight average, not day to day, is your average coming down per week. And that's a good little lesson for you. Into number 7, and that is the fact that you have zero morning routine on the Saturday. I am not expecting you to still get up at the 6 a.m. on the Saturday morning as you do Monday, Friday when you're getting up for work, because your weekend are your time off, and they are time to have a bit more of a lie-in if you want. If you don't want to and you want to get up early, feel free. It's what I do anyway. However, what my biggest issue was, Monday, Thursday, I was always very much get up at 5 to 6 a.m, go for a run or go for a gym session, have my breakfast, get my day started as of normal. And that made me feel so confident, because it almost felt like I'd won the mornings. And when I'd won the morning, I then felt way more confident about the fact that, yeah, I want to win the rest of the day, but also it gave me confidence that, hey, I can win the rest of the day. It's almost like every day was a race, and there was 3 segments of that race: morning, noon, evening. If I was winning my mornings, I'd be a lot more confident I could win the other 2 parts of the day. But on that Saturday, I didn't do that. I stopped going to the gym in the morning. I stopped having a normal breakfast in the morning. I stopped going for the gym. I stopped going for a walk. Stop doing any sense of what I've been doing Monday, Thursday. So then I didn't feel like I'd won the Saturday. So not only did I not even feel like I had the confidence to win the rest of the day, I didn't even really want to, because I hadn't put myself into that mindset of, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling confident, I'm ready to make progress for the rest of the day. You're not expecting to be the exact same at the Saturday as you are the Monday, Thursday, Monday, Friday. However, if you feel fucking amazing on that Monday, Friday by going for a morning gym session or run or having a certain breakfast, do one of them on the Saturday morning routine, because you and I both want you to get to that Monday morning and your scale weight hasn't shot up and you don't feel like you've just lost progress at the weekend, even though you've maybe had social plans. The perfect weekend is where you can still have that sense of social life and enjoyment and relaxation whilst still making progress. If you can have something on that Saturday morning which makes you feel like you've won the morning and won the AM, the rest of your weekend will literally times fucking 10 in regards to how consistent you stay. Number 8 and number 9 I'm actually going to combine into one, and that is the Sunday Monday cycle that you then get stuck in. So we've now covered your preparation for the weekend, the Friday fuck it, the Saturday morning routine, and then we get to the Sunday or the Monday. Now you've woken up on the Sunday and you've went out on the Saturday night, or you've went for some meals, or you've done something which is off plan or off track. Your scale weight has went up, or potentially you've not even weighed in because you'd already told yourself on the Saturday morning, I'm going to relax this weekend. So then you start guilt tripping yourself. That then leads into the mindset of, I need to lock the fuck in for the rest of next week to make up for the progress that I have lost. And that is where I would get constantly stuck in the restrict, binge cycle, because Monday, Friday, I would be a saint. I would literally track every single thing. I would not miss a gym session. I would never miss steps. Honestly, it was like an obsession. But then because I was so heightened and so stressed by, I need to be perfect, it was almost like I was, I couldn't breathe. So then when it came to the weekend, it was like, oh, I can relax now. And then because I was relaxing, it would get to Sunday and I'd be like, right, I need to Monday, Friday again, weekend, Monday, Friday, and you get what I'm saying. So what I was actually doing was I was just putting all this fucking mad stress on myself when I never really had to, because it was then the fact that on the Monday I would massively slash my calories, I would massively increase my cardio, I would massively remove any sense of actual fucking enjoyment from the foods that I was eating, and I would go straight into I need to be clean and healthy mode, which basically just meant fucking chicken and rice. But what that also meant was that as soon as I got to Tuesday, Wednesday, even though yes, I was making the results because I was being consistent and doing all the things that I didn't do at the weekend, I was already thinking, oh, I can't wait for the weekend. Even though I knew that every weekend was where I went off track, in that moment of the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I couldn't but not help think about, oh, I can't wait to relax the weekend, be able to enjoy my food a bit more, be able to chill a bit more, have a lie-in, not have to do any of this serious, consistent, hard shit that I'm doing Monday, Friday. Then that would be the cycle on the Monday. Restrict calories, restrict food, absolutely fucking assault my body, and then I would basically just get to the weekend and I would be absolutely dead, and I'd be like, oh, I just need to relax. And then that would lead to the Sunday, where I would have spent the last 72 hours doing fuck all that I'd done Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, which would then make me feel the fuck up button, which would then make me think, right, I've ruined my weekend, I need to get back to it on Monday, and the cycle begins again. So what I hope that you've taken away from this video today is that weekends and staying on track and making progress is not having to live the exact same nutrition, training, lifestyle routine that you do Monday, Friday, but it's also, and it cannot just be a sense of you going, all right, I'm just going to relax and stop doing everything. You need to find that middle ground. The most important things that I would say, Saturday morning routine, and please to God have a plan of action for your weekend. All these little things that you can do to give yourself more control, more confidence, and more structure and routine going into the weekend. I hope that you've taken a lot away from this video. If you haven't already, give me a little bit of a subscribe, as I'm going to be bringing you plenty more videos to help you with fixing your mindset around what it takes to actually build the body that you want. I will speak to you very, very soon. See you later on.